We start talking and communicating with Great Plains with ideas of showing to farmers what are the benefits of using different planting systems, and also talking about the weed control.
Yeah, the weed control, we cut down that space to a 22-inch space, and we saw it in the plants down there. And if you look at the plot, you can see the difference there. And it's something that I hadn't thought about until you really pointed that out. As far as in the plot itself, I knew that that was a possibility, but it really did show when we looked at the plot today.
And I think that particularly if you start seeing the challenges that farmers are facing today on weed control, yeah. I think that we will be seeing positive benefits. I mean, if we can intercept more light, at least for 1 day or 10 days, because the whole concept behind is that on my 30-inch rows, I mean, when I'm seeing on the singulation, the time that those plants will take to cover the canopy, it will be longer. So when you're looking at plants that they are being spacing, equally spacing in a diagonal pattern, those they will tend to cover the canopy much faster.
If we can improve row spacing and improve drought tolerance, we can use corn for control of weeds a lot more than what we have been, because corn can be a more effective crop for us. Lets us go back to wheat faster.
It's good that you point out the crop rotation, because I think that you make a very interesting point on the idea of how we can intensify, right? Because I mean, the whole concept of being in an environment that is dry, but still we can intensify rotation. And rather than just have weeds, we can have crops, right? And I think one of the most important points that we would like to see, I mean, the results on these plots, I mean, this year is also about the water conservation. We talk a little bit about water conservation, and in these environments, we really need to emphasize this point again. So when you are looking at the yields from last year, right? So can you just briefly give us some idea what yields we experienced last year on those plots?
Channel Seed gave us the 11 varieties that they wanted to test in a hybrid plot, and that's how we started. As we evolved into a 30-inch 8 rows, 30-inch or twin row 8 rows, side-by-side test on all 11 hybrids. And then we also did a variable population study on the other end. And what we found was across the plot is we had about a 9 bushel advantage to the twin row at the same populations. So this year what we did is we went through those hybrids that we used last year and picked out 3 that had a high response, a medium response, and a fairly low response. And we said, all right, how are we going to, we took 3 replications at 3 different populations as a side-by-side 8 rows. So now we have we're refining that test down to what do we want to do with the twins.